Good morning. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to podcast number 7. By the way, today is my birthday, July 19. It's my birthday, and I want to give thanks to God for being so kind to me, giving me yet another year to do all the things that I want to do. So you know what? I will continue to do all I can while I can. Thank you, Lord, for another blessed year. And for all birthday people for the month of July too, I wish you a happy birthday. You know we're the best, don't you? Anyway, continue with podcast number 7. I just want to say this. I've been asked by some people that since I've been talking about my business in the US, how I started, why don't I show some images of how the brand looked like and what we did. So in this episode, I will show you some pictures that were taken in the 80s. There's some posters, our corporate office, the way the brand looked like. So at least you can tie the podcast with the product and of course with my voice. Thank you. Today's episode, I'm going to talk about debt and percentage management. In our journey into this business, the first rule that we had was you should always pay your debt. You should always pay your debt. That's so critical that if you have to go further in business, your credibility is important. Your ability to service your debt will allow you to grow, and finding ways to do it is the key, but the mindset should always pay your debt. That's what we had when we started business. I remember in the early part when I had decided to do this business in Ghana. We had then sold our company and our corporate office in Chicago 2001. And here I am, awash with plenty of cash. And I remember 2 advices that I did get during this period. The first one was from my then wife, who said, Osei, why don't you retire and enjoy the fruits of your labor? But you know, I still had an unfinished business to do. So I listened, but in the back of my mind, my vision hadn't been completed yet. And what was it? Remember at the beginning I said the name of our company was AFAM Concept Inc. and it was African American Concept Inc. And the idea was to bring the best of both Africa and America for the mutual benefits of those continents. We have done the American part for about 21 years. We sold the company, made money, but I still had unfinished business of doing the African part. So I politely declined that sound advice because I thought I could conquer the world then. Anyway, so I returned to Ghana at the beginning of my relocation with my brother, Austin Apia, popularly known as Dallas, who had also worked with us at AFAM Concept Inc. in the US. And we visited his father-in-law. And then when we started talking, we told him our intention was to relocate our business in Ghana. He gave us a wise advice that resonated up to this day. He said, young man, so you said you want to do business in Ghana. Well, let me share this with you. The monies that you brought here to start your business will finish. The reserve that you kept in the US for your security will all of it will end up in Ghana and it will finish. You will then go into debt in Ghana. And once you're able to learn how to pay your debt, then you've learned how to succeed in Ghana. What a prophetic wisdom that he gave us. But you know, at that time with my exuberance and money in my pocket and all that, I really believed I could conquer the world. So I listened, but I said, let me go on and try my idea of relocating to Ghana. So we came to Ghana and established a brand called MVP, meaning most valuable product, not most valuable player, but most valuable product. And I've had that brand since 2001 to date. Now, the mindset, always pay your bills. Okay, that's the motto that we have. With that in mind, I want to share something with you about the best way to go about doing that. My partner and I developed a system that we called percentage management. Percentage management. We like it a lot because it was a way of us trying to keep our operations steady and do the things that we need to do to make sure that our resources are well balanced. So what is percentage management? What we did is that we divided all the cash that were coming in into percentages to fund the various areas of our operation. For example, we had inventory, or something what people might call cost of sales. We agreed to devote 50% of all cash collected or all sales revenues collected to fund these inventory purchases. We also had operating expenses, which was both the variable and fixed expenses. We allocated 30% to fund this area. The third thing that we did is that was debt servicing or sinking fund. We allocated 12% of all incoming cash to create enough funds to pay off our debt on a periodic basis. The remaining 8% was geared towards profits. So at least at any point in time, if we were to say $100, we have $50 to fund the inventory, $30 to deal with all the fixed and variable expenses, 12% to service debt, and 8% was earmarked for our profit. This serves us well, and this approach can also serve you well if you use it to do your business on your personal finances side. So that's the basis of the percentage management. I will encourage you, new entrepreneurs and new businesses, that the lesson learned from here is that you have to find the best way to manage your business, especially your cash flow. That would ensure that you can continue to borrow, because even business and you're scared to borrow, you can move on. You should have the ability to borrow money, because as you grow, your cash needs will be greater, and then the internally generated funds might not be enough to support the growth. So it's important that you find ways to grow through managing your cash flow better. So the lessons learned that I found out is that in business, where you operate, that determines how far you can go and how best you can service your debt. So you have to put that in mind. Also, servicing debt for your business, I come to find out, are mostly dependent on two things, both internal and external factors, and the location of your business. Let me explain. For example, in the US, where we operated for so many years, the macroeconomic factors were very good. The bank borrowing rate, which was between 4-6%, was very good. The market size was large. The disposable income per capita was great. So your job as an entrepreneur was to find ways to grow your company, because all the external factors were good for you to operate in. So relatively, we did well because these factors were important. Another important factor is that the value chain supplies for your production has to be well established, as it was done, and as it is in the US. But from where I'm operating now, these external factors have become a challenge, because the macroeconomic factors are challenging. The bank borrowing rate hovers around 25 to 35%, almost impossible to operate in that kind of situation. There's high inflation. You also have challenges with the exchange rate depreciation, which definitely affect your cash flow and your productivity. The per capita income is not high enough, so you always have to be adjusting your prices just so you can create the demand that you need. So these challenges makes it difficult to have a very stable debt service regime. But regardless, your goal as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, is to have the mindset that you always pay your bills. What I've learned is that when the challenges come and you have the mindset to pay your bills, you have to communicate with your debtors or your creditors. You have to be brutally honest with them, tell them the challenges that you have, and periodically inform them the plans you have to pay your debt. If you do that, at least you'll be in a decent position with them, and at least some of the banks or institutions might work with you to see you through so you can succeed. But I'm telling you, the type of business that you choose to do also will affect your debt servicing ability. In a place where I operate now, manufacturing is a little bit difficult because the value chain supply for your input for your production are not readily available. So what do? Do you say that because these challenges are there, you won't do the business? Yes, you do. But then you're going to have to find a way, again, to use the percentage management as best as possible to guide you so that at least you can come ahead. The COVID 2019-2020 caused a lot of havoc in most countries and most businesses. And some of us continue to suffer from these challenges. So the highs and the lows that you have in business going to happen. Some of them you might not be able to control. But your goal is to keeping on. And if you have that mindset and you don't give up, eventually you will succeed. With that said, percentage management, I hope I've explained enough. It's a way of breaking down all incoming cash flow into percentages to find the areas of your operation. And then the way that you do, once you break it down, you can create 3 separate accounts in the same bank. You can call it the inventory account. You can call it operating expense account. You can call it sinking fund account in the same account. So whenever daily, when you receive your cash flow and you're going to make your deposit, you find out the percentage, you put in these 3 separate accounts. That way you don't commingle any funds. And that way, if I have to buy inventory and I don't have the enough inventory, then I have to build up to the point that I can do that and I can go ahead and do that. So that has helped. So I'm hoping that you can use this to help you with your business too. Also, always remember that even in your personal life, sometimes people call it budgeting. Budgeting is good, you do your budget, but the practical way of actualizing budget is through the percentage management. I'm hoping you could try to see how far you can go with it. Well, what am I going to do for my birthday? I don't know. I really don't know. I know I'll go to work. I know I might have my lunch, but I'm just grateful that I woke up this morning feeling excellent. When I did my exercise, came back here and said, let me do my podcast number 7. And it's been on my mind to talk about debt because we in business continue to have serious challenges with debt service, especially depending on the environment that you operate and the external factor that you can control. So me talking about it will let you know that you're not alone and that so far as in the business, these challenges will be there. But again, I remind you, always have the mindset that you always pay your debt and then you can go further in business. I'm going to end this episode by just talking a little bit about the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule is also called law of the vital few. Law of the vital few. What is 80-20 rule? 80-20 rule means 80% of the results that you get invariably always come from 20% of the efforts and attributes that are dear to you, that you have. Or in business, you can say that 80% of the revenues or the sales that you generate will come from 20% of the product line or the service that you provide. Once you know this, for example, let me just use some numbers. Assuming I have 100 different product lines or SKUs, stock keeping units, 100 different products that I'm selling. 20% of the 100, which is 20 of the product line items, will always generate 80% of your revenues. Once you know this, then you know that you can plan to be efficient, you can plan to be productive by putting more resources on that 20% that will give you the 80% revenue. And sometimes the thing to do is that it will help you also to cut off some items that are marginal. Sometimes, we in business, we do things because we want to follow the trend, new idea coming or new product coming, you want to follow, that people do, but then be guided with the 80-20 rule always. Otherwise, you'll be putting money in areas that's not productive for you, and that could also affect your business. I want to thank you for listening to episode 7, and I'm going to go ahead and have a great day for my birthday. Thank you. Please like and subscribe. Let your comments keep coming in, and let's interact so I can answer some of them. Peace and God bless.